Okay, Signet designers, Ed Nicholson from Carey Color here again. Let's talk about some of the more advanced features you guys will be using within Enterprise Solution software. First, I'm going to log in as Stacy Ketchum. But you'll notice spell check wants to make sketchy. Coincidence? Let you decide. Kidding, Stacy. All right, let's log in. If you have not logged in for a while, you're probably going to be greeted with this somewhat generic screen. I don't find this particularly useful. Just a bunch of blue folders and cubes. The better way really to navigate the system is to access jobs directly by clicking over here. And as long as you are on the Documents tab up top, you'll be able to see everything that's inside of that folder. The St. Jude Launch Kit. See, I'm clicking on that over here on the left, and it's showing me the flat plan, if there is one, up here, all the bits and pieces that make up the flat plan, and I just have all of my windows. It's a little bit easier to get around. Let's look at the Vera Wang project here. I'm going to change my view at the bottom from List View to Gallery by clicking here. To me, that's a little bit easier to see. And I want to show you the structure of how these folders are built. See, I'm twirling open all of these different things over here. We've got the top level, which is the job itself, a Documents folder, and then folders within that mirror what you're looking at over here. Files for separator, turn in. I like to kind of keep this on the topmost folder here, and then just navigate by double-clicking the folders that I need. Let's go ahead and talk about downloading images or PDFs. I'd like to download this file right here, and this file, remember, is the same exact file as this down in the Documents. It's just that this PDF was dragged and dropped up into the flat plan. So I could download by clicking here, or I can download by clicking here. It doesn't really matter. You can select File, Download, Document, or you can right-click. Go ahead and download it, and it's that easy. This document is now downloaded to my hard drive, and I can open it, make a low-res PDF, email it, do whatever I need to do with it. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. If I wanted to download multiple documents at a time, I can select multiples, and again, File, Download, and it'll make a folder. A lot of browsers open a generic white window like this. When you do that, you can just X out of that. But if I go to my Downloads folder, I'll see that it has generated a folder based off the first file name, but inside are both of those documents. All right. So that is downloading. Pretty straightforward. You can also download entire folders. So let's say this folder, Files for Separator folder, had 50 different things in it. It's got fonts in there, InDesign files, the whole 9 yards. I can right-click on that and download the entire Files for the Separator folder. There's nothing in that, so it's not actually going to, the selection is empty. But let's assume there was a lot in there. Then you can download the entire folder, and it'll make a zipped file of that and put it on your desktop or in your downloads, wherever you have that going. Uploading is a little bit trickier, but not too much. Let's say I want to put some files into this Designer PDFs folder. I'm going to double click it. And we have 3 tabs at the top. The Designer PDFs tab itself is showing me everything that's in there. The Settings tab you don't need to worry about. That's just read and write permissions. We set that up at Carey. And then finally the Documents tab. These are the documents that are within that Designer PDF folder. So you can see that there's a multiple page PDF sitting in there. Let's add something. We're going to go over here to this Upload folder with the arrow on it. I'm going to click that. And it opens a little Java widget that you can drag and drop files right into this area, and then click Start Uploads. I like to turn on this close automatically the window after the upload is done. That's good grammar there. Or you can browse to files. Let's put a PDF or a PSD in here. You can put anything in there. Screenshots, Excel files, InDesign files, all kinds of things can be placed into there. So I'm just going to pick a random image that really doesn't have anything to do with this job, but just for the sake of the demo, we'll put it in there. And there it goes. And in a second, we'll see that pop up. And it goes through a little bit of stuff there to generate a preview. And once that's done, I can double click that image and take a look at it in the viewer if the file format is supported by viewer, which would be all kinds of things, PDFs and images. Or I can download it again if I wanted to, or share it to somebody. So that's the next thing I want to talk about, is sharing documents. All right, I'm going to kind of reset my folder by clicking on this top level here so I can see my flat plan and all of the pieces that are involved in this. Let's say, for instance, on this document, again, I'm viewing as Stacy Ketchum. So this is a way that you could either clarify a comment or an annotation that is vague, or you could actually directly interact with somebody by asking a question. Let's go ahead and place an annotation here. See, I'm talking as Stacy. Megan, is this the right asset? All right, now I'm going to close out of that window. And here's a little trick with the software. I'm going to share this by right-clicking on it, Share Documents, and that brings up this window, which once you get it is a little bit easier than it looks. And instead of the download type of share, I want to view. In other words, I want her to open it in the viewer. I'm going to share this as an email. View as, let's see, MB, Megan Bundrock, there she is. Okay, first couple letters of her email address. And anybody that's within the Signet system that's been loaded in here as a user, you can view. The default generic one would be Signet Merchant. If you don't know the person's email, just start typing Merchant and Signet Merchant will pop up. This is a bogus email we made for that user, but it works. But I want to go back to Megan for this. You don't need an end date. End date just means when will this link expire. We're just going to leave that off for now. Description is what's going to come up in the subject line, or the subject of the email. So, Megan, quick question. Recipients. Now this is the trick. You're going to send it to yourself first. Whoop, that didn't work. Let me send it to me. I obviously can't get Stacy's email. So I'm just going to send it to my Gmail since I'm doing this from home. Click OK on that. And now I'll go over and open my Gmail account. And I have an email with that link. Oh, apparently I clicked OK twice. So I will forward this now to Megan. Pretend I'm doing that. I'm actually going to send it back to myself. The point being, and if I had clicked send, this would have gone over to Megan's email had I sent that to her. And the reason I send it to myself first is because the email is pretty generic. It just has the link, and it might not make any sense to the person. So you send the link to yourself, put your own email in the recipients, and then now we can dress up this email a little bit. Megan, please take a look at this when you get a second. Okay, off it goes. So Megan would get this email, and open that up, and you'll notice that it's going to take her directly to the viewer mode. No login, no password. That's the beauty of this. And you have a question here. She can reply directly to this question, and she's replying as Megan. Stacy, this is correct. And close that window. All right, now I'm going to go back. Remember, we're still logged in as Stacy. So she would be able to open up this image and see Megan's response in real time. One reply from Megan, Stacy, this is correct. Now you might be thinking, why in the world wouldn't Stacy just yell over the top of the cubicle over to Megan? That's a good question. And most of the time that's how you'll do this. But there are times where sharing a document with a message in it can be very helpful. Maybe you have to track down a merchant that is upstairs or who knows where, out of town. Maybe you are asking a question to somebody who's out sick for the day or who has already gone home for the day and you want them to see it the following day. Remember, you're going to send that link, forward it to the person through an email. They'll get that email, click on that link, and come directly to the page where you have asked this question. And it's not just for questions like this where you are taking the initiative to clarify something. It could be that somebody has requested that you do something that's a little vague and you need some clarification. So I'm sure you can imagine a few real-world scenarios where sharing a document with somebody can be a helpful thing. I'm going to close out of that. And I think the last thing we want to talk about is how to make a new folder. Let's say you were inside of Designer PDFs. Oh, it logged me out. Let me log back in. The reason it did that was because I had set it to a new user, or sent that link to view as a new user to Megan, so it doesn't know who I am anymore. So let's get back into the system. There we go. Stacy Ketchum. Back in here, I want to make a folder within Designer PDFs because maybe I don't like the idea that we have a Photoshop document sitting out here. I'd like to have my Photoshop document inside of a Photoshop files folder or samples folder or something like that. Right click again and just click new folder and name the folder. Let's call it fonts. So then a new folder is put in there, and this kind of thing might be good for Becky or Dion. If I'm having trouble over at Carey Color with some different fonts, they can zip the fonts and throw them in here the same exact way by uploading into the fonts folder. All right, so we covered downloading folders or downloading documents, uploading, sharing images, and also how to create a new folder. There will be more videos coming, so stay tuned.